Yeah, we're here with Nate. Nate, the first chore is over. You made it into the final, right?
Yeah, Greg, I'll tell you, I was really happy to make it in the final. In Seattle here, the ultimate goal, obviously, is to make it to the final. And it was neat winning a race. And, I can see my boat running down there. Look at that. The water looks kind of rough, but, I need to get a little more horsepower so I can get the thing aired out a little bit more and fly it around. So it looks okay. The first time I've ever seen the boat run from outside the cockpit. So looks pretty good. Those Alberto colors really show up well too on the colors, don't they? That's great, yeah.
Hey, a first, a third, and a fourth place finish so far today. What do you do going? I mean, what's your strategy? Do you change anything going into this final run?
Yeah, a little bit, I guess. I mean, as a conservative race program, I always try to just make it to the final. And now that I'm here, I let it all hang out. And so we bumped the fuel back up again to make sure we're going to be legal. And I got to try for that inside lane or thereabouts. Or if I can't, then I got to go for a flying start in the outside and just make the Alberto beef jerky boat do as good as I can. And unfortunately, the beef jerky battle we've all been trying to get didn't work because both their boats are crunched. And I'm really, really glad Mark Webber's okay and that Lowry's boat. And I sure hope to see him back with that beef jerky battle in San Diego again.
Second heat of the day was the start was a problem for you. You kind of had to back it off a little bit. So obviously you had...
No, the start wasn't a problem for me. I was a problem for me.
Timing.
Yeah, it was my fault, 100%.
Yeah.
Unlike the other guys around here that make excuses for...
He'll claim it. He'll claim responsibility.
I'm the one that messed up. Yeah, I goofed. I was too early, so I had to lift, and that's just the kind of way boat racing goes sometimes. So.
All right, let's hope it goes better in the final for you.
Thanks a lot, Greg.
All right, Nate. Steve, I'll send it back to you.
All right, guys. We have the championship heat still to come. The championship of the General Motors Cup at Seafair. We're still about 20 minutes or so from racing from the championship at the General Motors Cup at Seafair, but the partying has continued all day long, well into this rapidly warming up afternoon on Lake Washington, and Kevin McCarty has been out on the log boom all day with the plum assignment. Kevin?
It's a very tough assignment, Steve. You have to learn a lot of self-control, and that takes doing out here. But it's a great day now. Look at this. Fun in the sun. We've got people diving into the water. We have people misbehaving. We have people doing all kinds of things, and we have the log boom boats keeping a very close watch on that kind of behavior because, kids, this is no place to goof around. But it's turned into a great afternoon. This morning, for a while it looked like the sun was never going to come out.
Clouds hung on until well after noon, but that didn't stop the Blue Angels from putting on a heck of a show.
It's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Loving it.
You're saying you've never seen anything like this?
No, I've never, not live, no, I've only ever seen it on the television, and it's just amazing.
And they're partying on board the Geronimo, especially after Jerry Rice's boat did so well in early heats. The yacht is able to accommodate not only a huge crowd, but 2 televisions that can air both the Mariners game and the Blue Angel performance at the same time. But it isn't all fun and games on the log boom. Medical crews have been kept busy reporting 1 concussion and a seizure on the water today. But all in all, it's been a good day for race fans and sunbathers.
Things are going real well. People are, like I said, the sun just came out. People are starting to really enjoy themselves. You hear the music in the background. We're having a blast out here.
And they're having a blast over there on the Red Herring. They got a band going out there playing Little Eric Clapton. I don't know if it's all that good, really, but everyone seems to have a good time. Now, look, come down there. Scott, if you look at that platform there with the AstroTurf on it, it's got a barge. It's got a little house on it. It's got a little deck. It's just like a floating, I don't know, what do you call it, a little floating veranda. People have been watching the races. They've been swimming in the water. We got a lot of people in the water right now. Between races, you can do that. During the races, you can't. So it's been a great day out here in the log boom for folks now that those clouds are gone and the racing's going good. The boats have been great. The Blue Angels have been great. Steve, it's just been a really great afternoon. How else do I put it?
I think you put it very well, Kevin. Thanks. And all those folks out there on the log boom and all of you at home still have one big race yet to go. That is the championship for the General Motors Cup at Seafair. And, you know, not only will all of us here and all of you at home watching be winners in a way, charity can be too here. Bill Rocky has an interesting bet between the Go Bowling team and the Freddy's Club.
Steve, they've got a great deal going here. First, I'm going to talk to Mike Hansen here about the final. You've kind of had a quiet day, and you're doing really well.
Well, I don't know what's quiet about it. We had to rerun the first heat, and I've had some heck of a battles for the first couple of heats today, and it's been a lot of fun. We're just now ready for the final and let it all hang out.
Do you think you can win this thing?
I think so, but so do 5 other guys standing on this beach, so it's going to be a heck of a boat race.
What would it mean to you to win here in Seattle?
That'd be a dream come true. I mean, I grew up loving boat racing, sitting on my father's shoulders watching these things ever since I was about 5 or 6 years old here on the shores of Lake Washington. And the dream ever since I was that little kid was to win here in Seattle.
Okay, Mike and the bowling people have a little wager going here with Freddy's Club. This is Dave Bemis from Freddy's Club. Dave, what's this all about?
Well, Dave Pardee, the owner of Skyway Park Bowl, and Reggie and Fred Steiner, the owner of Freddy's Club, we decided to make a little wager. We picked a couple of charities, and for some reason we didn't make the finals, but, thank you to Coors Light for helping us this weekend. And Reggie, the president of the association, I want to present this check for $5,000 to the charity of his choice.
Reggie, what charity is going to get the money?
The Washington State Bowling Proprietor Junior Scholarship Bowling Grand Prix Fund. And so far we have $600,000 vested in this. It's one of the largest scholarship funds in Washington State. We're really proud. Thanks, Dave. Thank you, Reggie. Great.
Guys, that's great. Steve, let's go back to you.
You always like to see good things happen and good people make them happen. That's very nice of both teams, the Go Bowling team, the Freddy's Club team. Congratulations to all of them. Now you also love to see good people, good families being rewarded in all this time they put in hydroplane racing. The Elstroms, they're one of those families. Tony Ventrella's down in the pits.
All right, as you can see, there's not a whole lot of activity on the Elan Plus right now because they get things ready. You tighten a few screws, a few bolts, you get things ready for the race, and they've had a good day today. Lisa Elstrom is with me. Lisa, by the way, if you forget, 3 years ago, I announced that she was pregnant with her 2.5-year-old child now, and your mother-in-law didn't know yet, right? Was that true? It was your mother that didn't know?
My mother didn't know at that time.
Whoa! Well, I can tell you this year that she's not pregnant, so there's more good news. But anyway, now,
really, Mom?
What about the tattoo? Want to tell them a little about the tattoo before we?
It brings the kids out here to have some fun and get tattoos on their face and the hands, and even on your favorite sports announcer's arm as he's interviewing other boat camps. You got to go for the right team out there, the U16 Miss Elan Plus, and just out here to have a great day, and we're hoping for a win in the final.
Thank you, Lisa. And as you know, Steve, that's not the only tattoo I've got. I've got a big one of a submarine on my chest, but there's no time for that, thank goodness. Let's take a look at the green boats. One's being lowered into the water right now. Absolutely nothing happening in the last 15 minutes. These two boats are ready to go. They would have run a 4:10 final. I think a lot of the crews feel that way, but since it's 4:40, they will be even more than ready. I think it's time to send it back upstairs, and we'll bring some tattoos for all of you.
Well, Tony, great. Since we do have the time, maybe you and the guys downstairs can go ahead and show us that submarine at some point. We really can't wait. We want to see all that you have to show. We also have more news from the pits. We're going to get to Bill Rocky here in just a couple of seconds. We're hoping that Bill is getting ready, but in the Freddy's Club pits, they've gotten more bad news about this fuel situation. And I know, Mike, you and Scott had been talking a minute, so while we await Bill, who is going to chat, I think, with Jim Harvey or perhaps Mark Tate, we talk about the fuel restriction situation one more time. Now, Bill I'm looking down in the pits from where I am, Mike. And
First of all, we got to suggest that what happened here is that the Freddy's Club had a fuel violation again, and they're out of the final. They were supposed to be the traitor. Now, these guys have performed as well as almost any team on the water today, and as a result of the rules, have virtually come up with bubkas for the day. And in my view, Scott, I think that's a shame. From a fan standpoint, the Freddy's Club, which has performed so well all day long and has got a lot of fans, and it's a hometown team, Jim Harvey's team. Granted, they violated the rules. The rules are the rules, and we'll have to live with that. But from a fan standpoint, these guys go out and win a couple of heats. They have to run the trailer chase and they get into the final heat, it looks like 1, 2, 3 times they're there, and the answer is no, they're not. They're out, and that's not good. If we're going to succeed as a sport, we've got to make sure that boats like this get to final heats without silly rule violations.
Well, Mike, I'll tell you, it is pretty upsetting to the guys down in the Freddy's Club pits. I'm again, from our vantage point high above the pits on our KIRO 7 tower, we can see our reporter Bill Rocky, and they're trying to get to someone of the, not just crew members, but people who are involved, and really nobody right now wants to talk. I think they're all just so darned upset about the way this has all happened, and even things that they have no control over are going to knock them out of this final as the trailer. Bill Rocky, are you ready for us down there, Bill?
Steve, I'm ready for you here. It's still up in the air, it sounds like. It sounds like they're still checking some of the fuel restriction stuff on that last heat. I'm with Russ Stiles of the Freddy's Club crew, and what's the status right now? It's still up in the air?
It's still up in the air. What we're doing is we have a flow meter that's in the boat, and we're checking that to make sure it's accurate. And
originally, though, they told you that you went over?
We've been over not only in the Constellation, but the heat previous, and basically we haven't changed the setting all day, so the only thing that would have changed would have been from the temperature. Out here it's gotten a little warmer, but we've been running pretty conservative all day, and all of a sudden we're way over, so that's why we're questioning it.
Hey, Bill, let me jump in, because I want to tell you that walking your way right now is team owner Jim Harvey and Mark Tate. They just got out of the UHRA trailer down below us here in the pits. They are walking very slowly, heads down, back toward their pit area, which is where you are. It doesn't sound like good news.
Okay, here comes Jim over.
If they appealed, they didn't get good news out of all this. Bill, go ahead.
Okay, here's Jim. What's the final word here?
Well, we're out of the final. We're just we violated the fuel limitation, and we're out.
Seems like you guys are very surprised you're over, because it sounds like you thought you were okay most of the day.
Well, 2/3 of the day we were not even we didn't have durations even a second long, and all of a sudden now we're 3-4 seconds over, and we've only increased in ambient temperature about 4 degrees. You know, that surprises us.
Jim, this is tough, especially for the fans on the beach. They see you win. They think, okay, Freddy's Club's in. Now they're going to not see you out there. There's got to be some way to simplify this.
I think that's one of the things that we're going to be working on this winter, is how to simplify this. You know, we had a good chance to win today, and it was taken away.
Well, there's one more race left, I guess. Too bad, because I know this is your home, but good luck the rest of the way, and we're sorry not to see you out there.
Well, it's important for Freddy's Club, local sponsors. They put a lot into this event. They put a lot into our program, and you know, my way to reciprocate is to go out and be competitive and win, and I thought we had a chance to do that today, so we'll just have to pick up and move forward.
Hey, Jim, thanks for your time. Steve, there it is. Freddy's Club is out of the final.
You know, Steve, it's one thing to tweak your fuel and fudge on the rules a little bit, and some of the camps have done that, and they rightfully wind up getting their fingers slapped. But when you have a situation here, and the fans need to know, a violation is not a constant fuel flow above 4.3, but an incident as long as only 5 seconds.
Well, it is too bad. It is, however, one of the rules, one of the myriad of rules in this sport, and perhaps now under new ownership and new management, this entire thing can be figured out so that all the boats can be competitive, and yet they can go out there and put on quite a show for the fans and make it understandable to the fans as well.
And the problem here is, and this is what they'll be discussing, as Jim suggested, and it has to be done, because the show isn't as good unless all the best boats are there. Now, regardless of what condition they may be in and whatever racing luck they have to endure in the course of a day, that's one thing. But when the show isn't as good, if the best boats are on the beach for things of this nature. Those are the rules. We live by the rules, obviously, but those rules can be changed and ought to be.
All right, here is the lineup then for the General Motors Cup at Seafair, the championship, which will be coming up shortly. The Miss Elam, the Zenetics, Old Boy Oberto, Miss Budweiser, Miss Go Bowling, the Zenetics Lumar, and the Free Eye now becomes the trailer. We'll have more on the controversy and more on the boats that will be racing for the GM Cup title when we come back.
July
July 30th, Tri-Cities, Washington. The Miss Budweiser's quest for an undefeated season came to a crashing halt after a collision in Heat 2A forced the Budweiser team to withdraw. In the final, Mark Evans, driving the Miss Elam Plus, took advantage of the opportunity and won the Budweiser Columbia Cup. That win, by the way, marked the 10th unlimited career victory for Evans, but it was the first ever for the Seattle-based Elstrom family.
Bill Rocky has been a long-time student of this sport. He has enjoyed it. He knows a lot of people involved in the sport, and he also has gotten to know a lot of the drivers. Bill is with us down in the pits.
That's right, Steve, and the guy who's been on top all year is Dave Villwock. The last couple of years, his career has really gone sky high. He's done really well. It hasn't been easy, but he's turned out right now to be probably the top driver on the unlimited circuit. Team back in 1997. He's not only the driver, he's also the team manager. He first joined the Unlimiteds as the crew chief of the Circus back in 1990. He's worked hard and he's been injured, but he's come a long ways in the last 10 years.
Then I just wanted to do the best I could at that job, and then, quite by accident, got an opportunity to drive a boat for Ron Jones Jr., which I won the very first race. So that sort of launched a career, and then went through some bumpy roads and ended up here, and that's quite a story with, that and losing a couple of fingers on my hand and all of those things, were the number of hurdles that had to be overcome.
Dave's now the all-time winningest driver in Budweiser history. He took over the top spot when he won the Gold Cup earlier this year back in Detroit. Now that's quite an accomplishment, considering all the great drivers Bernie Little's had throughout the years.
Really, the weekend before, someone told me that, gee, if I won 9 races in a row, I would match Bill Muncie's record. And I didn't know about that either, of course. And I thought, well, geez, that's kind of interesting. It'd be cool if I could do that, But, we were handicapped there, and I didn't know with the fuel that we'd be able to do it. But we managed to win that 9th race. And then went on the Gold Cup and won the Gold Cup and managed to win the next race, to go ahead of Bill Muncie. And then at the same time, somebody wanders up and says, hey, did you know you're the winningest Budweiser driver ever? And really? That's a good weekend.
Now, anyone who knows Dave knows just how competitive he is. His knowledge, his ability, and his will to win has put the name Dave Villwock up there with the greatest drivers in the history of the sport. Dave's had a lot of tests this year. I think this final heat's going to be his toughest test yet. He still thinks he can win this thing, but it's going to be tough, and we'll just have to see what happens, Steve. See if the Budweiser can hang in there and win this.
Well, Bill, they have already given Bernie Little his 20th career world championship in unlimited hydroplane racing. That is something they've accomplished today, but they really would like to win in front of the fans here. And we will have all the action. We'll set the field for you, give you the race strategies, and show you the start of the General Motors Cup at Seafair Championship race when we come back. Their instructions are simple. Drive fast, avoid trouble, and cross the finish line first. Sounds simple, but of course, it is never that easy. On the street, inside your head, every beat. All the talking and all the prelims are over. There is but one race remaining, and it's for all the glory. We're ready to crown a champion.
The GM Cup Final, brought to you by Southwest Airlines, the official airline of Seafair. Southwest Airlines, a symbol of freedom, and presented for Seafair by Chevrolet. We'll be there.
Oh, we are back and ready to go racing. The Free Eye gets a free pass into the championship, although they have to start from the trailer position. But we have got the lineup for you now for the championship race of the GM Cup at Seafair, and Mike, run them down for us.
Well, an afternoon of shattered hulls and shattered hopes in some cases, but here's what it comes down to. The Miss Elam Plus looking very good as we go into this final. The Zenetics, the U100, that's the kid who last year drove the Pico, and he has got a shot at winning on Lake Washington. The Oh Boy Oberto, the Madison race boat with 13,000 owners and a lot of fans here in Seattle. The Miss Budweiser, down on points, but not necessarily down on luck. Still a shot to win this one. The Miss Go Bowling is definitely running very, very well. Mike Hansen's got a shot. And the Zenetics Lumar boat, which is, of course, Terry Troxell's birthday boat, that one also has a good shot. So who can win? Who knows? And that suspense is what this is all about. Free Eye, as you mentioned, has got the free get-out-of-jail card.
Well, let's talk a little bit about each one of these boats, the drivers, the camps, what they have to do, beginning with the U16 Miss Elam Plus. Remember, they earned fuel restrictions by virtue of their win, Scotty, a week ago in Pasco, yet they have still managed to run quickly out here on this course.
Yeah, and I don't know that the 10th that he lost, he's at 4.2 from 4.3, is really hurt Mark that much. And when he made the good starts and drove the boat as he knows how to do, he's won his heat, and he did extremely well. And it's a 2-mile track. And last week we ran a 2.5-mile track where they really defuel because they have that much longer of a straightaway to go. And in this shorter track in the rougher water where you can't always leave your foot on the floor unless you want to end up like the old York guy, then, I think Mark's got a good shot at this. I would not be surprised to see Mark pull this off.
Well, the Elam Plus, the U16, is a real family affair, the Elstroms being the family. Tony Ventrella's been following them in his part of his pit coverage today. Tony?
Thanks, Steve. Eric Elstrom is here with me. This has been a not non-eventful day, but you haven't had major problems, although you did switch an engine, which I guess is not easy.
No, it's not always easy, but we got to do it every race. So
after the first heat, you switched engines?
Yeah, after the first heat, we switched engines. We actually ran 3 different propellers today. This is the propeller we were running yesterday that we actually been saving for the final today. It's a brand new one we just made.
And gearbox, no problem after last night?
No problem after last night.
Okay. And they had the number 1. You kind of went up today, went 2, 3, 1. There's only one other place you haven't finished today.
Yeah, 0.
First in the heat.
That's right.
First in the final. That didn't mean 0.
Same thing.
Oh, yeah, good point. Hey, get up there on the barge, watch this race. Good luck.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Eric Elstrom, the whole family not only works in the manufacturing company with the boss, Sven, the dad, but they also work on the boat. Back up to you guys.
Tony, thanks. The U100 Miss Zenetics.
Got to tell you, this guy's due. I think Greg Hopp definitely is driving himself a very, very fine Seafair. A General Motors Cup might be coming to him. He's got a fast boat. A couple of times there he was quicker than I thought he'd be, and both times he was legal. So he's definitely been able to benefit from that kind of a situation. His teammate is out there also. Don't know if there's any strategy with respect to that. But Greg Hopp is probably in the catbird seat, I think.
Mike, thanks very much. Greg England is in the pits. Greg?
Yeah, Nate Brown just hopped into the Oh Boy Oberto. He was high-fiving guys as he headed down the dock and got into his boat. His team is very excited, and so is he. And he has reason to feel good. You know, last week he raced for the first time. The Miss Madison, now the Oh Boy Oberto, needed a backup driver, so he stepped in, won the first heat over in the Tri-Cities, and then went on to finish third in the Columbia Cup final. So he's doing very well. Today, a first place, a third, and a fourth in the heat so far. So a lot of reasons for Nate Brown to feel good. The crowd around here is behind him. He is a crowd favorite, probably because he gives away so much free beef jerky, and you can bet if he wins here in the final, it'll be jerky all around for the pit crew here.
Well, I guess that's a real plus. One thing that is interesting, Scott, as we talk about Nate Brown and his team, Nate took over the U6 driving team in July when the rookie driver Charlie Wiggins retired. You know, his best friend was NASCAR driver Adam Petty, who was killed. And so, you know, sometimes those things that happen out there, when it starts to affect the driver's mind, he knows, doesn't he, when it's time to move on.
Well, he made the right choice, because if you can't put 100% of your concentration into what it takes to drive these boats, and Charlie also had 2 accidents. He had a hatch come off on the bottom of the boat on the Madison, and then he also had an accident in his little boat.
All right, the Miss Budweiser, always the boat to beat, and yet today it has been beaten, and soundly, pretty much all afternoon, Mike.
And whereas the Elam Plus may not be bothered by the 1/10 1/10 of a gallon flow per minute down. Miss Budweiser is obviously bothered by 3/10 down. They've driven into trouble a couple of times. They've had all kinds of scrapes and scratches, and whether or not this boat could win the General Motors Cup is going to depend upon whether this fella can stay out of trouble and get the start of his life.
Well, speaking of start, he got the boat started this time, Bill Rocky. They put the fire out earlier in the day. They got it going now, though.
Bernie, got a little better this time.
Well, the boat's 100%. There's no excuses. We ought to be able to go out and win, but with the cut in our fuel, we can't. So there's just no. If we'll just be in there wherever we can be, and we'll probably start way on the outside lane and let them go play with themselves, shoot it out, and have a good race.
You tell Dave to do that?
Absolutely. And, the reason we're having all the trouble we're having is because of lack of fuel. We can't go fast enough to get out of our own way, and that's a fact. But they'll have a good boat race, and we'll just do the best we can. We'll be there.
This sport's going to have to regroup on those fuel restrictions.
Yeah, it is, because you got some really good Freddy's Club. All these boats, these are good running boats. And, you know, you've got some rules that just, thanks to Mr. Muscatel, it's so screwed up, it's unreal.
Bernie, thanks. Let's go back to you, Steve.
All right, no love lost there. Ken Muscatel, quite a little bit of trouble between those two camps, and we'll discuss that as the race goes on, because Kenny's going to be in this final heat. Meantime, here's the Misco Bowling, Mike. The U9 Skyway Park, Mike Hansen. He's got 2/3 and a second today.
Gotta like his chances. He's been driving very, very well. If anybody's managed to keep themselves out of trouble and keep their boat running well, it's been Mike Hansen today. There's a different boat than you saw last year out here. This is a boat that's stepped up a bit and is running some awfully handsome speeds as far as its lap speeds all day long. So this has got to be your dark horse.
The U99 Zenetics Lumar. Terry Troxel, he's got a win today after an inauspicious start, and he's got a second-place finish as well. And this guy is one of those kind of guys who's just really thrilled to be here and get his first win today, Scott.
Well, he is, and that's very consistent with the first time you get to drive an unlimited hydroplane. In the first heat, you win, and Terry will never forget this the rest of his life. For my heart rate, I just hope he chooses not to grab the inside this time, though. He's had a couple incidences in the inside, and he's got a fast race put underneath him. And he could learn a lot and really be an accomplished driver in his deal if he just takes his time and positions himself well.
Now, the one boat that will have to lag back, that's the U25. Explain what the trailer really means here by Ken Muscatel at the controls.
Must start a period of seconds, 15 behind the rest of the boats, which means a couple, 3 rooster tails, and unless everybody else essentially decides to go out and have a beer and quit before the race is over, there's no way that this particular boat is going to be able to be victorious. However, as we mentioned, in 1993, I bring this up only because there were other boats much better than Michael Hansen's boat that year down in San Diego, and they all ran into bad luck. And by the time it was over and the penalties had been sorted out and the mechanical gremlins had been sorted out, he coasted across the line and won. So it can happen.
Well, it sure can. As we approach 1 minute 30 seconds to the start of the General Motors Cup, the championship race. Mike, Scott, you guys take it away. Here they come. They're trying to figure out just where they want to be on this course.
Most important of all is where the Miss Budweiser is going to be. Down on power, they need to have a very, very clean start. And if the Budweiser has any shot at winning this thing at all, and they could be sandbagging us with the excuses too, they very definitely have more things in the truck than anybody else. So you never count this red boat out. If it's in the final, it's still a contender.
Yeah, it looks like he is swinging outside somewhat, though, unless he's going to cut back in. He is out here and right out here in lane number 3 right now, and maybe he is going to swing. Well, no, he's sneaking up the inside, isn't he?
Yes, he is. He's starting to sneak up the inside. We have a Zenetics boat up there, and I'm not sure whether that's the Zenetics Lumar or the Zenetics, and I think it's the Zenetics. The number 1 boat, there's the Lumar hull as it goes up, and it looks like both Troxel and his teammate Top are going to try to look to an inside start or perhaps a 2 or 3 lane start. The Budweiser, interestingly enough, is actually taking the buoy row, which is not exactly what Bernie Little suggested, is it? Because he said he told him to go outside. But who else is coming up there? The Oh Boy Oberto's sticking his nose in there as well. The question is now whether the Elam, which is moving around the outside there, that's the orange boat picking up a little bit of speed, can get the line. I think Mark wanted to do about a 4-lane start here. It looks like on the inside we're going to have the Zenetics boat button, the lane number 2, the Go Bowling and the Oh Boy Alberto and then the Zenetics Lumar on the outside. Here they come to the line. Fair start. Budweiser gets a heck of a start right on the nose. And Budweiser's leading the Zenetics into the first turn.
He made a good start, but he does have Zenetics inside, and Zenetics is...
Ooh, I think we had one tag the other. Yes, we sure did. I think there's been a collision out there. I think it was the Budweiser and Zenetics. The Zenetics boat has gone dead at the exit pin. Let's see if we have any damage on the Budweiser. If there wasn't any connection, there certainly was a close kiss there. Budweiser leads them down the back chute. Zenetics has some problems. We'll find out whether or not the Bud's going to get tagged with some kind of a violation or whether there was a situation that involved a driving error by the Zenetics driver, Hop. Budweiser leads. This is a 5-lapper, remember, not a 3-lapper. They got to go 5 times around. So if there is damage to the Budweiser, it'll start to take some toll each time the boats cross. Second place across the line physically now on the race course is the Go Bowling. Third place is the Zenetics presents Lumar, a teammate down in the water for a while on the lower corner down there after an incident with the Budweiser. And oh boy, Alberto and the Elam are just virtually dead even across the line, as you can see them up there on your screen up on the left side. Down the back chute, the Budweiser pulling away.
Yeah, I guess they just don't have any horsepower in that boat, Mike. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, whine, and then deal with ace high straight. That's what's going on, I think. Anyway, the Miss Budweiser through the upper corner with Dave Villwock driving. Boy, he's got a wild ride up there, but he's got a lead like it won't quit. And with little or no horsepower to go with, it's hard to imagine how he could establish that. We got a great distance. Look at there, the second place boat coming off the corner now, which is the Go Bowling, is about a quarter of a straightaway back now. End of lap number 2 for both of those guys. The Lumar Zenetics is trying to give chase now to the Go Bowling. Going to be a little bit difficult to catch Mike Hansen, however, because he's working Terry Troxel to the outside a little bit now. Elam is just at the line, taking over 4th place against the Oh Boy Alberta, which is in 5th. And trailing now, restarted, is the Zenetics, which was involved in that incident in the first turn. Of course, the whole thing depends on what actually happened down that first turn. Okay, the second and third place battle is going on right now. That's the second place boat, the white one. That is the Go Bowling as it enters into turn number 2 for the third time around. And the Budweiser way out front. I don't see any damage on the Bud on the right-hand side at all, Scotty. If there was, it would have been on the left, I think.
It would be on the left, and I've been trying to pick it up, and Steve is looking through the binoculars, and he's going to watch real close coming through there, but...
on the overall shot, there's the Budweiser lead. You can see it's 3 buoys now, 1,500 feet, and pulling away. Mike Hansen in second place in the Go Bowling. Now the Zenetics Lumar is stalling in third place. It's going to get past.
Yep, he's going dead in the water.
Going to get past by the Elam. Elam will go by Zenetics Lumar, and so will the Oh Boy Alberto on the inside. Miss Budweiser continues to lead. Going into the north turn now is the Bud.
It's not a great place to be stopped.
Really isn't. We have a dead boat now. He's trying to restart down in the lower corner. Budweiser coming across the line now. 1,000 feet away from the line comes the Miss Budweiser with Dave Villwock. 0.3 of a gallon down, but well out front. Gets a white flag, so that's one more to go for him. Bud goes down into the lower corner. The traffic is not there anymore. At least the hazard isn't anymore. The Zenetics Lumar got restarted. Budweiser out front, second place, and it's turning into a high-speed parade now. Second place, the Go Bowling. Third place, it is the Elam Plus. Fourth place, the Alberto. And now the Zenetics has pulled into 5th place overall.
What a great job by Mike Hansen and the Go Bowling, owned by Mike and Lori Jones. I mean, he basically built this boat himself and some volunteer help that he has. Even Steve's friend Rick Corella works on the boat, and he's getting second place at Seafair. That's nothing to sneeze at, I'll tell you.
It's nothing to sneeze at. That's an outstanding performance on their part. Now we get a white flag for the Zenetics Lumar and for Ken Muscatel. Let's see if the checker shows on the barge. If the checker doesn't show, then the Bud doesn't win. Yes, the checker shows. Miss Budweiser comes across the line, winner of the General Motors Cup. Second place, Michael Hansen and the Go Bowling.
Boy, there's your story right there.
You bet that's a great story. Elam third across the line. Speed for the Budweiser, 142.586 miles an hour. Now hold your cards, bingo players, because we're going to check the fuel, I'm sure, on the Budweiser. Be sure there wasn't any violation there, because that's a heck of a performance for a boat that's down 3/10.
Well, I was going to tell you earlier in the day, I think any driver here would have taken any motor that they had at their fuel level and gladly put it in their boat.
Absolutely. Of course, they will check that, so this is a provisional win until such time as that's clear. But 142 miles an hour is the fastest lap turn by anybody all day.
Yeah, and they have telemetry to the truck, and it's all computerized, and they've never had a fuel violation since they put these silly rules in effect.
That's right.
And there's no reason to expect that he would now. I think you can pretty confidently call him the winner.
But you can be pretty sure that Mr. Leland and others are going to make sure they check that officially first.
You know, guys, is it just me, or after all of the bad-mouthing and all of the woe is me throughout the afternoon, and yet there doesn't appear to be a great deal of excitement on the Bud camp. They just sort of expect to win, even under these conditions, even under duress and fuel restrictions and all the rest. They expect to go out and win.
They had a combination, obviously, that they weren't going to talk very much about up their sleeve. No question about that for the final heat. Obviously, they did have something going for themselves. And, Bernie was giving us, a little bit of a snow job with respect to starting them on the outside and letting the other guys play. I think they were playing head games all afternoon in the pit area. Once they fixed the canard, I believe they felt they were still in this situation.
Well, Mike, let's find out from the man himself. Our Bill Rocky's with Bernie Little.
Bernie, you just told me 10 minutes ago you're going to start on the outside and you couldn't win. What's going on here?
We did all of that.
He didn't start on the outside.
Well, they just let him in the inside.
So he disobeyed you.
Yeah, no. Dave does whatever the hell he wants.
Seriously, this was quite an effort by your crew.
Let me tell you, that was a driver's win. I mean, he really, with a slow boat, he went in there, and he stuck his head in there, and I wouldn't have the nerve to do it, but he did it, and he just did a tremendous job, and we're really happy that they got a good race on. We had some good boats that didn't get in the final, but I don't know what we're going to do about that. We're going to do something.
No, now I'm not going to know whether I can believe you in the future now.
I wouldn't trust me.
All right, Steve, back to you.
There's the truest words of the day.
I wouldn't trust me, Bernie Little says. Well, you can trust this, that Dave Villwock and that Budweiser team are pretty happy about this win today, and we're going to talk to Bill in just a couple of seconds. But, Mike, let's go back to that first corner. Let's go back and take a look at the Budweiser and the Zenetics.
It was an absolutely perfect start, no question, for both the Bud and the Zenetics. That wasn't any problem at the line. But here's we go into that first corner. Here comes the Budweiser turning hard left. The Zenetics has a lane that far, but watch what happens now as they come on through. And the question isn't where it happened there. It wasn't right at the... Oh, no, it looks as though the Zenetics faded out. Scotty, was that your view of it, too? Looks like the Zenetics came out on the Bud, not the other way around.
Well, actually...
Well, now
it looks like
the Bud turns hard.
the Bud just runs right over the top of a sponson to me.
Well, the officials are going to be looking at this as well.
They're both loose going in the corner.
Yeah,
they are both loose. And skid fins are breaking loose.
Holy moly.
Man, that's Zenetics.
Now, what do you think? Let's back that up. Let's put the telestrator on that because I'm going to draw an arrow to the moon.
Well, first, let us go down because we have Dave Villwock, and let's find out what Dave has to say about this race, and then we'll continue to look at this. Bill Rocky?
Heck out of it. Yeah. Hey, Dave, great win for you here.
Oh, that's one of the best. I mean, probably as good as the first here because, I had to just find a situation where I could get it accelerated. So I got it accelerated about 5 seconds on the back straightaway, and I was on the mountain rolling. And, actually, I just give credit to these guys. These guys put this boat back together all day long. It took them about 3 heats to get it back together. And Mark and Dixon, all the guys in the science officer division gave us just the right setup at the end. I'm real proud of them. That's a huge win for us here in Seattle. It's hometown. We didn't think we could do it, but we did it, and gosh, that makes that fun.
Take me down to that first turn. Zenetics was right in there. It got a little crowded.
Lane 1 is a bad place to be here in Seattle, odds on, and so when they took that, I says, I think the Miss Budweiser can get through lane 2 if I can get it accelerated, and so we did.
I tried to get him in lane 1. He said, no way. I ain't going to get in there.
You were going out. This guy said, you're going to start in the outside and you can't win. That's right.
Yeah, well,
He told me. You didn't start on the outside.
John told me, he says, cut a light and check out. That's all we did.
Again, your crew really had to work their tails off here.
They did. They unloaded the truck today and disassembled the other boat, and we had a motor that wouldn't start, and we don't know why, but it started when we needed it to. I'm just really proud of that. This is their hometown, and all their families are here, and we wanted to perform, and it really wasn't looking good all day, and it didn't look like we could out-accelerate anybody, but luckily the guys gave me a chance to get the Miss Budweiser rolling on the back straightaway, and then we came by with some real speed. No horsepower, but we had lots of speed.
All right, Dave, congratulations. Steve, let's go back up to you.
Bill Rocky, lots of celebrating down in that Budweiser pits. They did what they had to do, and they win. The official results, not quite sure if they're official yet. We haven't heard from everyone, but the unofficial results certainly have the Miss Budweiser on top in the general. Now they're official, except, of course, for the fuel violations, and then they have to pull those computers out and check to see. But here we go. Miss Budweiser wins the General Motors Cup at Seafair for the year 2000. Miss Go Bowling, the great story there. Mike Hansen, their second place. Third place overall goes to the Miss Elam Plus and Mark Evans. We have a championship award ceremony to bring you and much more. Stay tuned.
Look at the damage to the boat.
The GM Cup Final has been brought to you by Southwest Airlines, the official airline of Seafair. Southwest Airlines, a symbol of freedom.
Welcome back. Your winner at the General Motors Cup at Seafair for 2000 is the Miss Budweiser, but we've got so many awards to present, including the Fast Lap Award. Let's go to the presentation area.
Go ahead. Greg, on behalf of Budweiser, the King of Beers, we'd like to present you with the Fastest Lap Award for going 144.828 miles per hour. Congratulations.
All right, thanks a lot. Thank you, Budweiser. Thanks, Zenetics. Thank you, Fred, Jackie. Thank you all.
Well, Greg Hopp's acceptance speech, short and sweet. I think he would rather be accepting for the win at General Motors Cup. However, his boat over there's got a little bit of damage to it, and they're going to have to do some repairs in that pit. Meantime, we await Dave Villwock, who will be coming over shortly to accept the General Motors Cup trophy for the championship win here. And the boats begin pulling away from the log boom. It has been quite a spectacular day. Started in spectacular fashion with the flip of the York. Mark Webber being slightly injured, but he's okay. Then controversy in Heat 1B, and it just kind of carried on. Then we got to some good racing, the Blue Angels, and even the sun came out today. So lots to be happy about on this afternoon as the fans begin streaming out of the waterfront areas here on Lake Washington as well, heading through Genesee Park, back to their buses and their cars. All in all, just a terrific day. And Mike, again, while we await word on any possible fuel violations, Budweiser team already starting to pack that boat up, and they're going to head off, do some repairs. They don't race again till San Diego mid-September.
That's correct. The official ruling now by the referee in the helicopter above that turn, Mike Noonan, was that the Zenetics boat on the inside failed to hold lane, slid into the rooster tail of the Budweiser. No violation.
All right, Mike. We're going to be back with more from Lake Washington after this.
Southwest Airlines, the official airline of Seafair. Southwest Airlines, a symbol of freedom.
Well, Scott Pierce, we said and always do say that the Budweiser's the team to beat, and even through all it's been through today, they were the team to beat, and nobody could do it.
Well, they sandbagged us really well the whole day long, and they made it, for a very interesting day, I thought. It had a lot of drama to it. We had some action. I thought it was extremely proud of the Miss Go Bowling team, and it was a great day, and I enjoyed it.
And a great day by you. Mike Fitzsimmons at the start-finish line, another terrific job, my friend.
Yeah, I think the fans went away with enjoying a great afternoon of boat racing. You got all the thrills and spills and all the controversy. And boy, did we grow some rhubarb today, huh?
We sure did. We've got awards presentations coming up in KIRO 7 Eyewitness News immediately following this broadcast. Thanks, everybody, for joining us on the 2000 General Motors Cup at Seafair. So glad you were with us. Hope you enjoyed the show. Come back and see us next year from the shores of Lake Washington.
Across the news
And now, after a great day of boat racing, let's take you back to the KIRO 7 studios and Eyewitness News.